Well, nobody wants to go in coalition with your party, and they stigmatize you as a far right. Well, I would like to pass through your policies here today and try to explain why they're doing this. We had huge experience in the last 5 years, especially during pandemic, and that's how we met. Can you tell us what is your view on this pandemic from 2020 until 2024?
Oh yeah, I mean that was a giant test balloon. So what they figured out, okay, this is going to be a little difficult to explain. Okay, what we're looking at is what they're actually trying to do is to abolish freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. And what they have come to realize is they cannot pass any of their nonsensical ideologies, such as the hoax about man-made climate change, their transgender madness, what they're doing, because in democracies the people see it as the BS it is, and they would never vote for that. So what they need to do is to literally gaslight people and manipulate them, and that's what they sort of did with the so-called pandemic. It started in the very beginning. I mean, they claimed it was of natural origin. So it originated somewhere in nature and just jumped to the human being. We now know it was a blatant lie. It did come from a lab. It was a lab leak. So, but they denied that. They censored social media, threatened scientists that spoke out about this, cut their funding. The whole shitstorm thing was going on. And they all colluded to fooling the people so they would believe, no, it was, some tragic mistake. Nature has it. That's that sort of thing. The next thing, the sensible stuff. I mean, in the beginning, we didn't know what is coming, right? We just heard about these fatal cases in China. So the first sensible step, logic step, of course, would have been to close the border and shut down any travel from China. But they didn't do that. The people that were trying to have that solution, for instance, in Italy, if you remember Bergamo, Lombardy, the region, they have a lot of Chinese workers there, and they all went home for the New Year's Eve celebrations to China. And upon coming back, they wanted to restrict their re-entering the country. They were called out as racists, and they weren't allowed to shut that travel down. So, but it would have made sense if you don't know what this virus is and what it does and human. So it went on and on and on. And then very quickly, there was discussion about, we need a vaccine. We need a vaccine. So any kind of other prophylactic, like getting out in the sunlight, taken to get the vitamin D going in your system, be in the fresh air to boost your immune system. They prevented us from doing so by locking us down, and the whole focus was on this vaccine. So, and they needed to do that in order. Then with the COVID certificate, this vaccine passport, what they called it, that was the reason behind that was they were trying to get people to get used to the fact that they had to show something where they wanted to go, whether it was a restaurant, a shoe store, wherever you wanted to go, you needed to provide proof of vaccination. And that was just, like I said, a test balloon to get you used to the idea of digital identity, for instance. Right? This is going to be the next step. But overall, all of these mechanisms, everything they implemented, and there really was a shift of paradigm during that so-called pandemic. It's all about control. And the reason they needed to push it to such an extent, stigmatizing people, ostracizing them, telling them you will no longer have a job if you don't get the jab, the reason they need to push that in the Western democracies to that extent is a very simple one. They didn't need to do that in China. China already is a totalitarian regime. They didn't need to do that in North Korea. It already is a totalitarian regime. But they needed to do it in the Western democracies so that the citizens in the democracies would not stand in their way once they start rolling out their totalitarian idea of running the entire world. And that's what COVID kind of like it paved the way, get people to understand, look, you better not speak up against your government or else. Is the whole reason behind that.